Okay, wait. Before I really begin with this pro and con comparison, let me point out that I don't want you to fight over these two great gaming handhelds. They both have their audience, they both have their pros and cons, and this video's goal is not to conclude which one is the better handheld, but which one is better for you and you alone. So this is not your classic review, but an approach to a mainly objective comparison based on facts and the pros and cons if we compare these two handhelds. And I'm not getting paid by Lenovo or ASUS for my statements or for making this video. And let's be honest, humanity is divided enough as it is right now. So let's just celebrate and enjoy them for what they are and not fight over them, which one is the best. So be nice to each other and the handhelds. Now with that out of the way, let's look at the many bigger and smaller differences between these two devices. And up front, I'm trying to provide you with as many objective facts as possible, and I'll highlight any subjective opinions with this little button over here. And I will also add a big sheet with all the pros and cons nicely put in a table for you as a recap to study afterwards at the end of this video. If I actually forget anything of importance, please let me know in the comments. And I know you guys, so don't disappoint me. And this video is not meant to entertain, but to inform you. If you want to be entertained, go to Linus Tech Tips. If you want to be informed, you better stay here, okay? So, wait, come back. I didn't mean that. I can entertain you. However, it is very important to keep in mind that even some of the facts that I am presenting today are subject to change due to future BIOS, drivers, and general software updates by both ASUS and Lenovo. And we also have to factor in that people constantly develop and discover hacks and adjustments that you or me just don't know about yet. P.S. This might take a while, so grab a cup of tea, coffee, a beer or a lemonade and a bunch of cookies. You might need them. So the first things we'll talk about before even turning these guys on are the size and the weight. The Legion Go is substantially bigger and heavier than the Ally with 854 gram for the Legion Go versus only 608 gram for the Ally, which is a difference of 40%. That is noticeable for most people, especially after holding them for a while. But that argument kinda gets invalid once you detach the controllers for the Legion Go, which are around 100 gram each, and use the Legion Go's integrated kickstand, which transforms it into a small standalone console situation kind of thing. As you might have already seen, the Ally comes in a matte white color with a rougher surface, which is basically immune to fingerprints. And the Legion Go has a more regular glossy laptop black, which easily attracts fingerprints. By the way, both handhelds have a very good build quality and seem to be pretty sturdy overall. The Lenovo Legion Go comes with a black travel case included, which doesn't fit the charger though. The ROG Ally does not come with a travel case. Okay, now let's look at the main hardware specs for the CPU and RAM, meaning the pure motors and the pure power of these handhelds. Here both are absolutely identical in terms of the CPU, aka the processor. They both sport the AMD Z1 Extreme if you're comparing the Extreme version for both of them, which we are looking at in this video. The Z1 without the Extreme attached is quite a bit slower, by the way. So the Z1 Extremes are very powerful and efficient 8-core 16-thread CPUs by AMD with an integrated graphics unit, the RX 780M, which can use between 3 and 8 GB of the system RAM as VRAM. The major difference here is that the Lenovo has a faster 7500 MHz or megatransfers per second RAM, and the ROG Ally only gets 6400 MHz RAM, though the latency is faster for the RAM on the ROG Ally. They both use 16 GB of soldered DDR5 RAM, which unfortunately cannot be expanded. How much of a difference this makes is really hard to tell, since the performance also depends a lot on BIOS versions and drivers provided. So always take a pure side-by-side comparison like the one I did a few days ago for 10 games with a grain of salt. But I was also comparing the pure CPU power of both handhelds via Cinebench R23. Plugged in with the 30-watt performance mode, I saw up to 14,275 points for the multi-core score on the Ally in the first runs and up to 13,879 in the following runs. The Legion Go was quite a bit slower here with only 13,065 points in the first run and up to 12,872 in the following runs. That is probably because the Ally manages to boost up to 42 watt, whereas the Legion Go only boosts up to 30 watt yet. For the single core score, the Ally got up to around 1,749 points and the Legion Go was behind again with around 1,708 points. Now, using the 15 watt balanced mode on battery instead, the Ally kinda destroyed the Legion Go in terms of CPU performance. 11,153 over 8,070 points in the first run and up to 9,575 over 8,048 points in the following runs. Now, even in the single core department, the Ally took a clear lead with 1,732 over only 1,606 points. I think this is similar to my gaming test in which the Legion Go clearly lost at using the 15 watt mode, which still needs a lot of optimization for the Legion Go. Now, in PC Mark 10, which is a great benchmark to test the overall performance of a modern PC, the Ally gets an amazing 6,893 points when plugged in using the 30 watt performance mode and 6,052 points on battery using the 15 watt balanced mode. That is pretty amazing. The Legion Go was again clearly behind with still pretty decent 6,528 points plugged in with the 30 watt performance mode, but only around 5,176 points on battery with the 15 watt balanced mode. I think Lenovo has some work to do here because this also reflects the everyday use speed if you plan on using one of these handhelds as a real Windows PC like in docked mode, for example. So again, take these results with a bucket of salt, as I really think the Legion Go does have a lot of potential for improvements in further BIOS updates. I also want to mention that I did a more detailed test with 10 games on both the Ally and the Legion Go in a separate video, so check that one out after this video if you're interested. But also keep in mind that since then there has been a new BIOS update available for the Asus ROG Ally, and I will post an updated video in the future once the Lenovo Legion Go also gets a BIOS update. But in short, both handhelds are pretty close performance-wise, especially with newer BIOS versions. It really depends on the performance mode you're using and the resolution and graphics settings. But you can basically play every existing game with at least 30 FPS or more, sometimes even with 120 FPS. Now, the screens are probably one of the biggest hardware differences between these two handhelds. So let's take a closer look here. Both handhelds have a touchscreen that you can use to navigate in Windows and games and also use the on-screen keyboard with it. The Ally has a 7-inch 120Hz screen with a variable refresh rate, which keeps the game movement smooth even with lower FPS. The Legion Go does not support this so-called VRAM feature, but has a slightly faster 144Hz refresh rate screen instead. Now, the screen on the Ally is a 16:9 display with a native resolution of 1920 by 1080, aka Full HD, while the Legion Go has a significantly bigger 16:10 2560 by 1600 pixel display. Now, me personally, I love adaptive sync technologies a lot and I don't really want to miss them anymore. But to be honest, I have issues playing games on a small 7-inch screen for a longer while because I'm kind of getting old, and even though I have 100% of my eyesight, like for real, so I would probably still prefer the bigger screen the Legion Go has to offer. But that is highly subjective and you might have a different view on that for a good reason. That's not the same. By the way, the surface area of the Legion Go's display is 69% larger than the Ally's in terms of pure square centimeters. Oh, and there is an issue with using 800p on the Lenovo Legion Go as of now. It looks really blurry when it should look pretty crisp instead, since 800p is the perfect splitting from the native 1600p, meaning it would just display 4 pixels instead of 1 exactly and still be pretty sharp overall. But the so-called RSR feature doesn't work yet on the Legion Go and you have to use a workaround for that. But afterwards it looks much better. I also actually measured color accuracy and brightness with my Spider X Pro for both systems, which gave me the following results. So for the ROG Ally, I saw 96% sRGB coverage, 67% for the NTSC color space, 73% for Adobe, and a maximum brightness of 420 nits. For the Legion Go, I saw 100% sRGB, 87% for the NTSC, and 90% for the Adobe Color Space, and a maximum brightness of 510 nits. That means that objectively, the Legion Go has the better screen when it comes to color accuracy, brightness, and refresh rate. Though again, the Ally has the very important variable refresh rate feature, which makes games appear more fluid once you're below the refresh rate FPS-wise. That means that 50 FPS look smoother on the Ally than 50 FPS on the Legion Go. I also have to mention that the Legion Go screen is a so-called portrait screen, meaning it's actually meant to be a vertical screen and is turned via the software. I heard that this can lead to problems in some games like Red Dead Redemption 2 that can't really handle these screens. Now, when using the maximum fan speed, the Lenovo Legion Go seems to be a bit louder and screechier to me, though the actual fan speed you'll get depends on your settings, the game, and the performance mode. Now, the ROG Ally has a 40 Wh battery, while the Legion Go has a 49 Wh battery, which is 22% more in terms of capacity. And battery times really depend on dozens of factors, like which game you play, are you using an FPS limit, and while we're at it, what graphics settings. Which performance mode do you use? What's your screen brightness? Which resolution do you use? Is the screen a 60 Hz or the faster 120 or 144 Hz? If you manage to adjust both systems absolutely equally, then in theory, the Legion Go should last about 22% longer. But I know that you want numbers, so I tried to measure it with the 15 watt profile on both systems, setting the screen to 60 Hz and 50% brightness, as well as 720p on the Ally and 800p on the Legion Go. And then I ran Forza Horizon 5 at medium settings without an FPS cap, as well as the beautiful side-scroller Planet of Lana on minimum settings, capped to 30 FPS with 50% brightness for a lighter example. Now, in the Forza Horizon 5 test, I then saw 125 minutes on the Legion Go and 103 minutes on the ROG Ally. For the lighter test with this simpler side-scroller, I saw almost exactly 3.5 hours for the Legion Go and around 3 hours on the ASUS ROG Ally. The ROG Ally does come with a fingerprint sensor integrated into the power button, makes logging in much easier if you don't tend to disable the login screen and want to protect the device from your kids, siblings, wife, husband, or a potential thief that steals it from you in the future. As mentioned and shown before, the Legion Go comes with a sturdy and well-built integrated kickstand. The Ally does not have one of these. Now, price-wise, they both started at $700 in the US and €799 in Europe, but the Ally has already been on sale in some countries since it's been around for a few months now, and you can get a used one for around $550 to $600. The Legion Go has just been released recently and might be a bit more expensive where you live compared to the Ally. The Legion Go does provide detachable controllers, as you have seen already, leaving the handheld as a kind of a tablet when you unplug them, similar to the Nintendo Switch. The ASUS ROG Ally can't do that. You can use the right controller of the Legion Go as an actual mouse with the help of a small adapter that comes with it. This mouse definitely takes quite some getting used to, but makes navigating in Windows and FPS or RTS or real-time strategy games, or like, for example, titles like Baldur's Gate 3, objectively and subjectively more convenient to use in some cases. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that applies to all Legion Go's, but I have a really hard time with the dead zone of the analog sticks. In my opinion, this dead zone, so-called dead zone, is way too big, though the developers at Lenovo promised to look into that, so this might be fixed soon. So as of now, I do like the sticks on the Ally a lot more. Again, personal preference with an objective fact of the bigger dead zone for the Legion Go as of now. I just had a really hard time when it came to precise steering on it, which is, to be honest, a pretty big issue for me. Again, this is going to be fixed, and Lenovo already addressed this in their statements, officially. If this would not be fixed, this would almost render the Legion Go unusable for me, because I just can't play most games like this in a serious way. Now, the Legion Go has made a questionable design choice, considering its two system buttons over here and here. They took the place of what usually are the start and select buttons, and a lot of people complain about not yet being able to reconfigure them. So start and select are over here. I myself would also prefer the ROG Ally button design, by the way, as you sometimes might actually use these buttons as set, start and select keys, resulting in the Lenovo software popping up. I also do like the D-pad on the Ally a bit more, but they both work as intended really. The Legion Go comes with a small trackpad, similar to the Steam Deck. It's functional, but has no left click or gesture capability. The Ally does not have a trackpad and you have to use the screen or the sticks. The Ally comes with one USB-C 3.2 port only, which is built into its XG mobile connector and can be used for external GPUs as well. The Lenovo Legion Go comes with two USB-C Gen 4 ports that also allow the use of an external or so-called eGPU. Now both devices come with an SD card reader on the top, whereas there is a severe temperature issue for the ROG Ally, which actually destroyed the SD card readers in a lot of devices. And believe it or not, my ROG Ally is affected as well, and I will have to send it in for free to ASUS to get it fixed. I also tested the SD card performance for the Legion Go in a separate video where I compare loading times and performance of games versus the integrated SSD, so check that out later, as I will also link to that in the end card and the description. Now, in terms of upgradability, you can change the SSD in both handhelds yourself, and that's about it. And now let's quickly talk about the software. The Ally comes with the ASUS Armoury Crate and the Legion Go with the Legion Space software as an optional feature on top of a Windows 11. Subjectively, I like the ROG Ally's version much better. It just feels more usable for me and has more options in general, but again, subject to change. A lot of people are complaining and Lenovo promised to fix a lot of the ongoing issues. Now, I sometimes had issues with both devices when I put them to sleep and tried waking them up again, resulting in a blue screen or the device not waking up at all, though there are workarounds using the hibernate instead of the sleep mode in Windows to presumably fix this. Both devices come with a fully functional Windows 11 Home Edition, which means you can almost fully adjust them to your needs and everything. You can use both as a desktop replacement if you're using a separately available dock like this one. I personally am not experienced with Linux, so I didn't test that. But there are reports that the portrait screen of the Legion Go is an issue with that once more. Now, the speakers are objectively louder on the Ally and subjectively better on the Ally as well. Whereas the Legion Go speakers aren't terrible or anything, they're just not as good out of the box. But they can be improved a bit with apps that improve the equalizer. Okay, I know that there are a few more things that I could have taken a look at, like for example the temperatures, which depends on the used fan curve and performance modes, etc. But that would have just exceeded the length of this video. I really hope that this comparison was helpful for you in deciding which of these two handhelds suits you best. If it did, don't forget to like and leave a comment. If it didn't, dislike the video and or let me know in the comments why that is. But one thing is for sure, Lenovo has to deliver these BIOS and software updates soon, because it's still a bit handicapped, but well, so was the ROG Ally in the beginning as well. I am pretty sure that both of them will perform almost identical in the future, so the real difference comes from screens and the overall usability. If you're absolutely unsure, just wait like 1 or 2 weeks to see how things turn out. And as promised, I've put all the pros and cons from today's video in this table right here, and you can pause the video or take a closer look, and you can also find a link to it in the description, if I don't forget about that. Well, if you made it this far and stuck with me till the end of this video, let me know by posting a hell yeah in the comments. You'll all get a like for that, promised. Cheers. And now that's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos on the Lenovo Legion Go. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye and tschüss. Rio.